Here are some of the most shocking revelations from a new book on Joe Biden's declining health during the second half of his presidency, which reveals the extent to which White House aides concealed his deterioration from the public. Political journalists Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson have written an explosive book in which White House staffers, Hollywood celebrities, and Washington insiders revealed a shocking cover-up. In the summer of 2024, the world watched in disbelief as President Joe Biden stumbled on the debate stage. At 81 years old, his performance was more than a misstep. It was a national reckoning. Slurred speech, lost trains of thought, and a shocking claim that "we finally beat Medicare" sent shockwaves through the political world. But what Americans didn't know was this: the collapse wasn't sudden. It had been years in the making and carefully hidden from public view. According to White House insiders, advisors were already discussing a future where Biden might need a wheelchair due to his worsening spinal arthritis. Yet his official medical reports made only vague references to moderate to severe arthritis. There was no cognitive test, no public discussion on his mental state, just an insistence that everything was fine. What started as political spin spiraled into a full-blown cover-up. After Biden's disastrous debate, the Democratic Party scrambled. Vice President Kamala Harris was left with just 107 days to rescue a sinking campaign. Even David Plouffe, Obama's seasoned advisor, admitted, "We got so screwed by Biden. He totally f***ed us."
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. You know, I can't even keep up with him.
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
Really? I can testify because I've been working very closely with this president for the past 2 years. I've been knowing him for 30 years. And I'm telling you, this guy's tough. He's smart. He's on his game.
Joe Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker.
The president is focused. He's detail-oriented. He's always thinking about the big picture.
He is engaging. He is capable.
Really?
He has an incredible record as president.
And I'm often with him on foreign trips. He's at the top of his game.
So he has a vision. He has knowledge. He has judgment. He has a strategic thinking.
I met with the president, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he seemed fine to me.
I have complete confidence in the president. I have watched him expertly guide meetings of staff and cabinet members. I could not have more confidence in the president.
I would just tell you that I meet frequently with the president, and every single time I meet with him, he is just fine.
But he is, again, knowledgeable, wise.
Incredibly sharp, incredibly probing, incredible command of the details.
He is sharp. He is on top of things.
There is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow he's not sharp and he's not capable.
We see Joe Biden up close. We know how attuned he is to the issue.
And you're going to see how smart he is and the experience he has.
I say his age is an asset.
He's wise.
Yes, he's wise. He has wisdom. He has experience.
And his experience, because of his age and his wisdom, has been invaluable to this country.
A lot of countries, people who've been in office a longer period of time are praised for their wisdom.
I have seen a lot of 72-year-olds not as capable as this 80-year-old.
It is hard for us to keep up with this president.
His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. He's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
And this kind of sense that he's not ready for this job is just a bucket of BS that's so deep, your boots will get stuck in.
Just days after former President Biden announced he has an aggressive form of prostate cancer, a new book out today blasts Biden aides and people in the White House at that time for allegedly hiding his declining health from the public while he was in office. Original Sin by journalists Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson delves into firsthand accounts, many anonymous, from Biden's time in office. Earlier on CBS Mornings, Tapper directly addressed who he believes is to blame for what he describes as a cover-up.
Hey, before we go in, I don't believe this is a cover-up, in my opinion. I think it was just outright people chose to believe lies. because I know people on various sides of the political aisle that were suspect. I've said it multiple times, that Joe Biden was not capable. We used to call them weekends at Bernie's here. So I don't believe that anybody who was saying it needs to be held accountable. It's the people that were denying the observable realities. Those are the people that need to be held accountable. But let's finish this up.
I think the main people complicit in hiding the non-functioning Biden were President Biden, First Lady Biden, Hunter Biden, and then his immediate circle of aides that other people in the White House called the Politburo, Mike Donnellan, Steve Ricchetti, and some others. They were the ones who saw President Biden every day, up close and personal, and whether they were lying to themselves and everybody else or just everybody else.
A Biden spokesperson released a statement today saying, quote, "There is nothing in this book that shows Joe Biden failed to do his job, as the authors have alleged, nor did they prove their allegation that there was a cover-up or conspiracy. Nowhere do they show that our national security was threatened or where the president wasn't otherwise engaged in the important matters of the presidency. In fact, Joe Biden was an effective president who led our country with empathy and skill."
I think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that.
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You have
to watch somebody on stage
This is so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter.
Yeah,
I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think.
So, Jake, I'm going to put my David Frost hat on here, being a British broadcaster, and following the Watergate theme. You may remember it took David 30 hours, or just under 30 hours of interrogation before he got the famous apology to the American people out of Richard Nixon. And my question for you would be this. I know you apologized, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, to Lara Trump, that you've contacted her since and apologized to her. Do you feel, Alex, I saw your speech at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which I thought was very powerful and very sort of mea culpa, even though you were one of the least people that people have been blaming, actually. But Jake, in your case, do you feel that you owe the American people an apology for slightly dropping the ball with this, and not just to Lara Trump?
I feel like I owe the American people an acknowledgement that I wish I had covered the story better. Knowing what we know now and looking back on that interview, which I feel tremendous humility about, she was right and I was wrong. I did not see in the moments he was having, I did not see that as cognitive decline. She did. Our reporting suggests that she was correct. So I feel humility. I've apologized to her. And I feel like, and I think this is something, quite frankly, that other journalists should think about when it comes to other mistakes, because I'm surely not the only American journalist that wishes he or she had covered this better. In legacy media, I should point out, conservative media was on this from the very beginning.
You're right.
And that is, I will try to do better. And that I could roll a bunch of clips of me asking about this issue. And in 2020, I asked President Biden, then Vice President Biden, will you pledge to be transparent about your health? And he said yes, although he was not. And I only got one interview with him as president in 2022. And I asked him about the American people think you're too old. Whenever you're confronted with that, you say, watch me. The American people are watching you. They still think you're too old. So it's not like I was ignoring it. And it's not like I was part of the effort to hide this, but in retrospect, of course, I wish my coverage had been better on this subject. And I think while I recognize to a degree I'm the avatar of American legacy journalism right now when it comes to this story, I think in order to regain trust, that there is something that we can do when we fall short, and I'm acknowledging it.
I agree. And let me know what you think. I do think that this was a cover-up. I do think that he was being propped up. I do think it was foul and wrong that Kamala Harris was anointed the heir apparent without they're going through the proper process of a primary and giving the Democrat base an opportunity to pick their leader. I do think that was pretty foul. And then only to have her stumble and fall through the election. And of course, we know, well, I mean, it was actually a good thing, actually, but they could have run a better candidate, all because they ran a really bad candidate to start with, and they ignored it. They just completely ignored that Joe Biden was not able and capable to do this. But let me know what you think. Have you read Jake Tapper's book? Have you read any of the books? I know Corinne is going to be coming out with one and so forth like that. Where do you land in this whole discussion about Joe Biden, his health, the cover up, and whatnot like that? Down in the comments, let's get that conversation going. I'm looking forward to talking to you down there. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for getting us just that much closer to hitting our goal of 50,000 subscribers. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace. Take care.